So we're moving to warrant Article 27. This is a citizen petition warrant article. It's one of two. New law this year, the petitioner is allowed a maximum of 10 minutes to make their presentation about the article. I will accept a motion from the council to open discussion.
I make a motion to open it for discussion. Thank you.
Second.
We have a second to open discussion. Presenting is our lead petitioner, Paul Skudlarek. So please, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. So warrant Article 27 comes to the ballot as a citizen's petition signed by 60 voters over a 3-day collection period. The article asks that our 8 state legislators protect local taxpayers by ensuring adequate state revenues for essential services and by avoiding policies that shift costs onto local property taxpayers. This article should result in a resounding yes by Londonderry voters in March and a strong message to our local legislators to end the downshifting of costs onto the backs of local taxpayers and the resulting yearly spikes in our property taxes. Towns like ours are bearing an increasing burden of costs that in previous periods have been broadly shared by our state government. The natural result of that purposeful and systematic downshifting of costs by the state legislature is ever higher property taxes. In 2025, this state legislature, in its thirst to reduce state taxes, regardless of its impacts on state and town revenue needs, eliminated the interest and dividends tax, phasing it down from 5% to 0%, costing the state $60 million in yearly revenue with no offsetting alternate revenue stream. The business profits tax has been reduced from 8.5% to 7.5%, and the business enterprise tax has been reduced from 0.75% to 0.55%. The reductions in those two state taxes resulted in a loss of $1.2 billion in state revenue. And current proposed legislation aims to take them even lower. The meals and room tax was reduced from 9% to 8.5%. Current legislation seeks to lower that tax to 6%. And I think we all know what's happening with tourism dollars from our neighbors to the north. That dropped 30% in 2025. 1/3 of our state revenue comes from the Fed. And I think God only knows what direction that may head in the coming years, but it probably isn't up. It has also been reported that the state has already depleted 25% of its rainy day fund. I could go on, but I've probably depressed you enough and sufficiently made my point. This town and our neighboring towns need revenue to support growing needs for our communities. We desperately need a new DPW building. I think Dave would agree with that. We have water infrastructure needs. We have road infrastructure needs. Our library will need significant funding to help it get back up and running. There are growing demands in our fire and police departments. Our public schools need greater support. It would be great if the state could help us with our important historical building, Morrison House, that needs $3.4 million or $3.5 million to keep it operational, or to make it operational. Each of these areas are important to this community, and they all require revenue and long-term commitment, which brings me back to the citizens petition. The ask is that taxpayers send a clear message to our 8 legislators, to Sharon Carson, our Senate President, and Sherm Packard, our House Speaker, that they end this constant and destructive effort to further reduce multinational corporate and high-income earner state taxes at the expense of local property taxpayers. I would wager a guess that few, if any, people in our community have benefited from any state tax reductions during these past 6 years. We need to challenge our representatives to tell us precisely how the reductions in state revenues that they voted for have benefited our community or lessened our property tax burden. How have those cuts helped our veterans, our young families, seniors, and so many others who will need support? Let's stop the downshifting of costs to Londonderry taxpayers. I ask for a yes vote on Article 27.
Thank you. Any discussion on the citizens petition warrant article? Seeing none, it will move to the ballot as written.